Hi class. This week we are stepping outside to enjoy this beautiful Southeast Georgia weather and to look at historical literacies. So we were to create a mock presentation utilizing the historical imprints database. So I wanted to discuss with you guys Miss Deborah Sampson. So in this mock presentation that I would be presenting to the Daughters of the American Revolution, or the DAR as they are known by most, I would look at the purpose of representing Miss Deborah Sampson and presenting that to the DAR. So Miss Deborah Sampson is a huge inspiration to many women and many women in this service. She was one of the first women to receive a military pension, as well as to give a lecture tour in the United States military. So Miss Deborah Sampson is an inspiration to many. A little background on her. She actually came from a very harsh childhood, and given the information that I found in the historical imprints database, I would like to utilize that to start my presentation. So I would look at the memoir that I found and look at her early childhood on into when she joined the Continental Army. So I would show how, being a child, the fifth child of 7, she was orphaned and went to live with family until the age of 10, at which point her distant family could no longer take care of her and she had to become a servant. So up until the age of 10, in this servanthood, she was fed, clothed, taken care of until she aged out and then had to take care of herself. So trying to find yourself at the age of 18 was very difficult for Miss Deborah. And so Miss Sampson then, at the age of 21, had this idea where she would travel to Massachusetts under the name of Robert Shurtleff and then enlist in the Continental Army. So this memoir that I found is a huge portion in her life, and I think that that would be a very big emphasis on this presentation, to show how once she is in the Army, she is struggling and having to learn to adapt. And so this is a huge portion of my presentation, and I will show the adaptability of her strength and her heroism and how she just molded herself to fit into these men, and how she could show just her resilience and her heroism, and how she fought off these loyalists and these rebels up until the point where she was shot in 1783, where she then had a fever and was discovered and eventually honorably discharged. And then even more heroism comes out from Miss Sampson. So then she, after her discharge and then reintegrating into the civilian life, she was fighting the Continental Army for her pension, which is where the lecture tour comes in. So the second article I found from the historical imprints database was from her lecture tour. So I would present this also as into my mock presentation, where it would show she went off to give the lecture tour to continue fighting for the pension. I also found an article showing representation of who is entitled to the pension, and then to go even further and conclude my presentation, I would then show from the National Archives where Miss Deborah did receive some of her pension. Again, all 4 of these documents that I would represent would be really, really great, with the overall purpose of the presentation to show that no matter where you come from as a woman, you can make waves and you have a purpose in the military service. And I think that that is huge, and that was where we were going for with Miss Deborah Sampson. Thank you all so much, and I can't wait to see where your presentations go next week.